How can you understand what their expectations are? How can you meet those expectations and then every day exceed those expectations? That is the best marketing plan in the world and harder to do than any other marketing tactic, period. Wouldn't you agree? It's why when we're hearing that we go, shoot, man, I just wanted to know the quickest thing to get booked solid, right? How can we shake things up a little bit? Do we know what the most important return on investment our client is looking for? Do we know that? For sure. Do you know that? Do you ask that? That should be one of the first questions we ask, right? Because now we have an opportunity to meet those expectations and then exceed them. Is there a physical return on investment? I mean, you're not going to get, rock solid abs by hiring a realtor, right? Not that kind of return on investment from a physical perspective. Although it depends, maybe a realtor also sidelines as a fitness trainer, I don't know. But do your clients breathe easier? And can you find out from all of your previous and current clients what changes in their physical being by working with you? When you're in the room with them, when you're at a negotiating table with them, what changes physically? It's huge. It takes a little work to really dive in there, and it takes a significant, sophisticated, and reflective person to do this kind of work, I think. And now, if we have a red velvet rope policy, and we know why people buy what we're selling, we can then start to look at really developing a brand identity. And I don't mean a brand identity like my realtors, who I love, who are great. I don't mean a brand identity like the pose on the side of the truck that they give you when you sign the deal, right? Which is great. I loved it, give you a truck. I didn't need a truck, but I thought it was really cool, right? That was a nice thing to do. But that's not what makes their brand. The fact that they're on the truck, a husband and wife team on the truck, right? Anybody else have a truck? Right on. I think a truck thing is great. I love it. I love that kind of stuff. But it's not what makes your brand. No way. You'd agree, right? There are two components to a brand identity. The first is very simple. It's who you serve and what you help them do. That specific target market and what specifically you help them do. I want us to move away generally from the conversation of defining ourselves by a category. I'm a realtor, or I'm a speaker, right? Because people have preconceived notions about that. Some may have very positive notions. Maybe my brother's a realtor, and I love realtors, right? Someone else may have had a realtor for their last home and had the worst experience of their life. And maybe someone has never worked with a realtor, which, is possible if somebody's buying their first home, right? They've just worked with, realtors for renting, which is different, right? And they just watched the movie Glengarry Glen Ross. You ever seen Glengarry Glen Ross? Great film. Anybody not seen it? David Mamet wrote it. It was a Pulitzer Prize-winning play, turned into a movie with Al Pacino, Jack Lemmon, Ed Harris, Alec Baldwin. Alec Baldwin plays this great, the character? He comes as this guy from downtown. Mitch and Murray sent him downtown to give this big sort of talk. He does what I call, in the sales training world, the big-chested, trainers. They walk around the stage like this, and they're like, listen, Friday, 4 o'clock, everybody else is going home. What are you doing? You making more calls? You on the phone? You dialing? You smiling and dialing? Right? That's I go to these sales training things, and I'm on the thing, and then I go after that guy, and I'm always like, yeah, I want to go after that guy, right? But he takes out this pair of, what are those? They're brass balls. And he holds them out like this, Alec Baldwin, and his Alec Baldwin voice goes, what it takes to sell real estate? It takes brass balls to sell real estate. And then Jack Lemmon goes to the back, gets a cup of coffee, and he goes, put the coffee down. Coffee's for closers, right? That's the world in which David Mamet is writing. And you've probably seen that world, right? Or heard of it, right? And what if somebody just saw that movie? Then they met you. They met you. right, who looks like the loveliest, sweetest person in the world. They meet you, and you're in the supermarket. You're like, hi, hi, hi. Oh, what do you do? I'm a realtor. Holy! And they go to over aisle 4. Nice to meet you. You know, because Al Pacino plays this guy who's basically trying to swindle everybody out of everything, and he's selling them this, dumb, bum land deals in Florida. So the point is, everybody has preconceived notions, whether good or bad. Let's move away from defining ourselves by something that is just a term, right? And actually clarify who we serve and what we help them do. That's the first thing. That's what people want to know. It makes sense, right? Okay, good. Now they want to know why you do it, and that's the kicker. That's what makes your brand identity. It is not logos, it's not colors, it's not on the side of the bus. It's not the ads you run. It's why you get up every day to do this work. And look, I say this with all respect, I really do. If you get up every day to do this work just to make a boatload of money and don't care about the people you serve, they can smell it. Now, you might have done well because you're smart, right? And there's a market out there. But if you cared about the people you were serving, could you imagine how much better you could do? Because this is an emotional relationship with your realtor. Anybody ever feel like a therapist as a realtor? Yeah. It's an emotional relationship. And the more involved you are, the better. So here's the thing. They look at you and go, okay, you serve people like me, great. You help them do what I want to do, great. Now, why do they do it? They may not be consciously asking themselves. Maybe an unconscious question, but they're asking themselves nonetheless. So the question is, what do you stand for? What do you stand for? What gets you up every day to do this work? That is a simple proposition, but it may be profoundly challenging. You may realize, wait a minute, I got into this first because I was quitting my other job or they were having a layoff, right? Who knows why you got into this? Anybody was realty the first profession? Only a few people, right? Most people do something else and then come to it. So the question is, why did you get into it? What does it mean to you now? And what do you want to stand for? Because you can turn that into a tagline, into a brand identity that means something. Because when you talk about it, it lights you up, it fires you up. And it connects emotionally to the people that you serve.